Hello everybody, this is JHancho, back after a fairly long hiatus. I'm going to be bringing you the rest of the first Flatline tournament. The second one has been completed and is displayed on the flatline.net site. Feel free to check it out, as well as I believe the replays are uploaded there as well. For all the games that I casted, head on over to my live stream channel, www.livestream.com/JHancho. This is going to be from the first Flatline tourney, round of 8, myself as the pink Zerg, and Dyno, the pink Terran, or the orange Terran. Now I must admit, I don't really want to cast this game, or this series. To foreshadow it, I do lose. Dyno is a bronze player, so to add to my embarrassment, but he played well. I did not adapt, I overlooked him. Looking forward to the next round, which unfortunately I did not get to. But I'm going to be playing fairly standard right at the moment, but Dyno surprised me. He played solid. He didn't make any mistakes. He relied upon me to make the huge amount of mistakes I did, but I'm just going to be doing 12, pull into 11. A little bit earlier than maybe is the usual, but let me get gas. If I get 50, actually this is going to be a little bit late, but I won't get speed right away, unfortunately, but it's not that big of a deal. My opponent now is just still not done with his racks, still getting his refinery up, so this timing is absolutely fine, not a big deal at all. I do know where he is. I don't believe that he knows where I am. He's going to get his wall up and probably train his first Marine in just a little bit, but like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of this game, but for posterity's sake I'm going to cast it all and we'll continue on with it. But I start to get speed, still haven't expanded, and that's something I've been kind of toying around with, the need to expand and stuff like that. Not so much in this game, I just kind of was playing blah. I kind of got on and they were like, he's on, so we played. Yes, I'm trying to minimize the amount of excuses that I make, but primarily they are excuses. Looks like he's going to go head out and pop down a factory right there, get his first Marine out. Meanwhile, back at my base, we do see a Baneling nest, and speed is about halfway done. Queen is a lot later than I'd like, and still no expansion yet on the map. He's about halfway done with his orbital and continuing, hopefully, to train some Marines. But as you see, he is keeping pace with the drone count, and he'll gain the economic advantage once the orbital is done. He calls down his first meal. He still hasn't scouted me, so he doesn't know what I'm up to, and I'm actually sending out a couple of Zerglings to the watchtower, and I'm just going to catch the tail end of this. And I'm trying to, as soon as I realize that, I try to keep him out of my base, but unfortunately he does get in, so I bring over my Queen to try and do some damage, delay the scout, but let's see what he is able to see. And he actually doesn't see the Baneling nest, but it's to no avail, because after this factory is done, he puts down another Rax. I did not know that. I was under the impression that he started something else a little bit earlier than this, but apparently not. So he is actually ahead in drone count. I don't know what I'm doing. I do have a ton of Zerglings preparing for kind of an all-in Baneling attack, and we'll see that it is in fact all in. Unfortunately, speed is done. My opponent has about 4 Marines out, not training anymore. Another Rax going up, a couple of supply depots dotting the landscape in very, very good position. Dyno, though, very, very diligent about his SCVs, keeping his minerals a lot lower than I am, actually. No. That is because I just put down an expansion, as well as continuing to train a ton of Zerglings. And we see that I don't have a layer quite yet, of course, because my units will be, or my money will be spent transforming some of these into Banelings, as we see right here. And my opponent now has a tech lab on his racks, is getting a reactor on this one, and now starting a third barracks. What have I done? So I have enough Banelings to warrant this, And look at this, he doesn't have siege tech quite yet. It's just about done, and I think that my timing on this couldn't be worse. I believe that he just gets this done and is preparing to make it sieged when I decide to go up here, poke, see what he's got, and now throw up 5 banelings and then start to go in with them. Unfortunately, as we'll see, the timing on this is a little bit bad. I decide to go away, now I come back, and now he sieges. And that is bad news. He blows up a bunch of my banelings before they even get to anywhere. Bad control on my part. Now I'm swarming in, coming out, swarming in. Don't know what I'm doing. Back at my base, absolutely nothing's going on. I am frozen. I kill the siege tank, but I don't get to the Marines with the banelings, of course, because I sacrifice them immensely badly. But I do supply block him, and that is good news, at least for a little bit. Of course, he does have supply call down, and I say that's sad that I failed. Again, I'm just going to be basically going in all in again. I'm getting Evo Chamber, sensing that something's not right. His number of units didn't correspond to what I thought they'd be. And, you know, he is ahead in economy quite handily, and we do see that now he's throwing down yet another barracks. So 1 basing, 4 Raxes, as well as a factory. No more tanks quite yet, but we do have a bunch of Marines coming out of the reactored one, and as well as the tech lab to Rax. Getting more and more supply depots. It looks like I'm going to be preparing for yet another baneling bust that will unfortunately fail. Now I'm starting to realize that, hey, I might be behind, so I'm building a couple of drones here, 3, and I'm also upgrading quite slyly level 1 melee. But again, I'm just going to be trying to do the same thing. He's putting up more and more supply depots around the periphery of his base, which is extremely smart, and I encourage all Terran players to do it, and in other races, Protoss especially, it is crucial. Now here, I was expecting perhaps an expansion, but I'm just going to keep my links back here for a backstab. But I'm going to go and check everything out, make sure that I don't get caught by any siege tanks. And we do see, of course, that he does have just more things being produced, more things than I have. This barracks is perilously close. It actually has less hit points than does his supply depot. But I'm going to prepare to baneling bust him yet again. I do not have speed quite yet, but it is being upgraded, and that is something that you absolutely need. And it looks like he's getting out here with a huge number of Marines, very baneling friendly. Unfortunately, he's moving out. Back at my base, I have absolutely nothing. Going towards his base are my banelings, and look at this. He's putting the welcome mat on it, and this is just bad control on my part. And wow, I didn't even know I did that. I detonated every one of those, like, 14 banelings, and that was extraordinarily bad. Now I'm realizing I'm behind. I need to defend, getting more banelings, more banelings, more banelings. He is starting his expansion. Look at this immense saturation that's going on at my base. By that I mean absolutely nil in terms of saturation. He is going to start to push. I do see this with my overlords. Transfer some drones, pull my banelings out, and look at this. This is kind of where you want to be. Boom, right? Unfortunately, he has a ton more Marines and a tank coming in, and I thought my Zerglings enough to deal with this. Apparently not. So he's going to be pushing in here, doing a ton of damage, and we see that he has sieged up, and look at that range. It's just going to be able to hit everything and anything it wants to. I do have 24 lings on the way. My hatchery will most likely fall until these Zerglings can spawn. But I do have Zerglings spawning at the top, spawning at the bottom. Broodlings, of course, will help here, surrounding the tank. Of course, some of the Zerglings decide not to go anywhere and do anything quite useful. But now Dyno going to be moving back to his base. Minerals getting kind of high. His expansion should be done. It is. And now he is still again in the lead. Creep spreading non-existent. Just trying to salvage what I can, but again, doing very, very poorly on pretty much every facet of the game right now. Dyno doing what he can, getting a ton of Marines, which isn't really the ideal thing to deal with banelings, but it's what he chose to do, and you can't take it away from him. He played well. He got stim, he got combat shields. I don't know if there's an eBay on the field, no. But this Zergling here, paying for himself, making me know that my opponent has moved out, really kind of saving me now. You do see that he did scan my base, continue to spit larva. I'm at 49 supply. Meanwhile, my opponent is at 55. So, big advantage for my Terran opponent. And Banelings are kind of out of position. I'm trying. I don't know what I was really trying to do. Minerals are getting kind of high. Probably gonna try and plop down a third with that drone eventually. But again, Marine tank, not really known to work, especially against Banelings. But once these siege tanks get set up, it won't really matter what I have. But looks like his attack will get thwarted. And again, I just make the mistake of killing all of them instead of doing what I can and what I need to kill as many as possible, as quickly as possible. The Banelings could have detonated when they were attacked, and I could have probably saved about half of them. But I do have roaches on the way now. My opponent is on the back foot, and he hasn't expanded. And I'm meanwhile getting what should have been my third, actually just a second base now. Because of the losses. But again, this mass marine type of thing, not the answer to Banelings, but now the roaches will be horribly outmatched by the siege tank on the ridge. Unfortunately for Dyno, he can't see quite that far. And that's one of those quirks about the siege tank that is quite interesting. And we do have the Marines heading out, and they can actually see the roaches. And I don't have a lot of them. So I move them out and away. I do have speedlings morphing into banelings, ready to deal with this. Of course, I don't see the siege tanks on the ridge. There should be one more perhaps around. But I am double expanding, making sure that I can do what I need to, and that is try to survive. I'm mining out my main base. My Terran opponent has nearly gone through his. And we do see a little swapperoo with some tech-labbed starports. So this has gone way far into the mid-game, and I have stalled out on tech. I don't have any Hydras, I don't have any Overseers, and I'm crying. And I'm not sure why I'm crying at this point, but I can assure you I did something really dumb. Probably walked into the siege tank right here and had all my banelings that I worked so hard to get just disappear. So we're going to speed it up as nothing will go on. He's just going to be producing Banshees out of here. Probably getting Cloak out of one here. Even if he doesn't, I have no anti-air to speak of. I haven't scouted him. I haven't done anything. So we'll just see that Cloak has been started on this over here. And the reason why I'm speeding up, I'm hoping to get it onto one video. If I don't, then this is all for naught. But as we see, he is moving into my base with about 4 Banshees for defense. I have a Queen. That's right, a Queen to defend against 4 Banshees. Something tells me this is not going to end well for me. And I have a sad face yet again. And Cloak is done for him, and my Queen is powerless. I don't have an Overseer, like I said. I do have a couple Spore Crawlers being made. I do have a fairly large army, but it's not going to be enough. Terrans are notoriously hard to break. He is mining completely out of his expansion here, and my Spore Crawlers not going to be of much use here. Apparently I just froze. I didn't realize I could make Overseers or something like that, but Queen will go down. Looks like he's sacrificing a little bit of his Banshees here, but it really doesn't matter. As soon as my Queen goes down, they are able to stay out of the range of the Spore Crawler. I'm trying to keep my drones near there and do something with them. I do have a ton of money, but it's not going to matter. I don't have any queens. These buildings will slowly die without sustenance from the creep. He's just going to continue on. And now here's the kind of death blow here. More Marines and everything else in his base. I do have drop tech, but it's not going to be enough. So at this point I'm pretty much dead. I don't know why I didn't make more queens out of everything. I'm making a layer now, remaking a spawning pool, because to me that base is dead. And I'm just going to try and drop here, but he does have 2 more Banshees out, and that pretty much seals the deal. And so I'm going to drop 1 game to none on Dyno. But we're going to go to Metalopolis next.